Hi, so welcome to my video essay. My name is Scarlett Spencer, and today I'll be talking about the ethics of content moderation on social media, in particular on Facebook and TikTok. What is content moderation? Content moderation involves establishing guidelines and reviewing user-generated content. Companies use this to filter content that they deem unacceptable and which violate their content guidelines. Content moderation is ethical when it is a private company with clear content guidelines that they have stated they can ethically moderate content that they believe violates their guidelines. This is not to be confused with censorship, which is when government power moderates content. Content moderation can filter harmful or unsafe content such as hate speech, disinformation, violence, abuse, and cyberbullying. Content moderation is also used to uphold brand reputation and can be manipulated in that sense. So who moderates content? Companies employ people called content moderators who review and moderate the content according to their guidelines. Humans can understand cultural referencing, the context behind a video or post. They can empathize with people and their reasons for posting it. Companies value human moderators over AI moderators because AI may struggle to understand slang and human emotions, but AI is more suited to moderate larger amounts of content for larger companies with more people posting on them. So what is it like being a content moderator? Well, there's many videos online and many sources of whistleblowers who previously worked for Facebook or TikTok as content moderators. They speak about their working conditions and the effects of working for these big companies to moderate their content affected their mental health and left them traumatized, mainly because of the content that they were exposed to.
Graphic violence, hate speech, sexual solicitation, sexual exploitation, that kind of stuff.
Sometimes animal abuse and disgusting things like that, but they also had guidelines to stick to. They'd be given a specific content queue. Some would just be involving graphic content. Big companies like Facebook would claim content moderators had access to psychological help, but they never actually got that.
Nobody ever asked about my mental health there. Yeah. Nobody said anything about mental health.
$15 an hour, and they believed that they deserved better pay than that just because of the work that they had to endure. One man spoke about his night terrors and had to be put on medication because his mental health was so bad.
I was very snappy with everybody. I had night terrors like almost every night. I went to a mental health facility in Clearwater. They diagnosed me with PTSD. They gave me some medication for night terrors.
They say that when they worked there, they were judged by an accuracy score on whether they rated a video correctly according to Facebook guidelines.
You're supposed to be getting a 96 to 98%, but nobody in our training class actually got anywhere close to that.
They claim that the company didn't really care about their workers as long as the job was getting done.
You sat at your desk, you put on your headphones, and you worked all day. No one came to comfort you if you were upset. No one came to talk to you throughout the day. If you turned around to talk to a friend, you were being screamed at. They say all the time, okay, we have these counselors here to help you, but we've got 9 minutes of wellness every day. So I'm supposed to go talk to this counselor about the 500 videos I've looked at today in 9 minutes, and I'm supposed to be okay?
The conditions were so bad for these content moderators that they ended up suing these big companies. I believe these working conditions were completely unethical and will have effects on their workers' mental health for years to come. So moving on to the main focus of this video, I want to talk about how content moderation affects people's mental health on social media, particularly based on beauty standards and body types, and how this is tracked through content moderation. So I recently read an article exposing TikTok's moderation process based on users' beauty. A document was released in the article by The Intercept that shows how TikTok are labeling certain body types, disabilities, facial features, and environments as undesirable and less appealing or fancy for their users. Certain features and shooting environments are said to be less attractive and not worth being recommended to other users. This document shows how TikTok's branding is their main focus and not their users. TikTok used content moderation to uphold a certain brand image and discriminate against users to do this. They suppress videos based on physical appearance and financial situation, people's living positions. If it appears that someone is living in poverty, they suppress these videos also. This kind of content moderation is dangerous, especially with the effects of beauty standards on people's mental health and obsession with how they look and how they want to appear online. There are countless videos on YouTube showing people's struggle with mental health and their body image based on the beauty standards that are presented online. This is a major problem and is causing many problems with people's mental health. When YouTuber Abraham Kamet speaks about toxic, unrealistic beauty standards and how this is becoming deadly, and I agree that it's a serious topic that needs to be spoken about, or people are going to lose sight of what is reality and unrealistic online. Another YouTuber, Olivia DeAndrea, struggles with the body image and self-esteem with her video about glowing up and how it ruined her life.
Okay, let's try to say some nice things about yourself. Okay,
I think the normalization of this glowing up and having a makeover and changing yourself and your body and your appearance is so toxic and unrealistic, and I think it's very dangerous for people's mental health.
I just need to get it to the point where people can still look at me and not vomit.
The effects of these changes in people's lives are lethal and affect people's well-being and how they live their lives, their lifestyles. It affects their self-esteem, their body image. It can give people depression, anxiety. It affects people's confidence, their ability to love themselves. It causes different eating habits and possible eating disorders and obsessive exercise to change their bodies to look how people look on social media, even though a lot of these bodies are edited or they have had plastic surgery or they are just not realistic enough for especially young people to live up to. As Abraham Kamet speaks about in his Toxic Beauty Standards video, celebrities such as the Kardashians promote this hourglass figure that isn't natural or realistic and affects the mental health of young girls who look up to these celebrities and will try and copy them as they grow up. So many young people, teenagers and young adults are online all the time. We're chronically on our phones, we're obsessed with the internet, we're obsessed with social media, living up to these beauty standards that aren't realistic. I think that because content moderation is unseen by users as a sort of invisible censorship, this means that users believe everything that they are seeing as people's real lives and people's real life situations and real faces and real bodies, when a lot of it is edited or has been worked on for a long time or a result of plastic surgery. And a lot of users will believe that this is who they should live up to being, and they feel the need to look up to these beauty standards and expectations. The way that these celebrities' bodies looks and influences these people that work day and night on themselves to look a certain way. Even if it's natural, the fact that this content moderation is pushing out a certain type of body or a certain type of face, it makes these users feel like this is the norm and this is how they should appear, and they will work towards that and try and glow up. I believe that in many ways content moderation is an unethical digital practice and should be handled with more care, particularly for the workers who have to cope with graphic and harmful content, and for the users of these social media platforms who are being affected with their mental health, with their daily lives. It's changing their routine, it's changing the way they think generally and how they think about themselves. And I think that this needs to change. And from my personal perspective, I believe that growing up in this age of technology and always being on my phone, always wanting to have the newest social media and always wanting to post and see what my friends are doing and seeing what influencers and celebrities are doing, these people that we look up to in my generation, I believe this is an insane problem, and that big companies such as TikTok, who have a lot of influence on these young people in particular, need to rethink how they're using their company and how they can use it for good, and to not affect these people's lives in such an intense way. They can still be successful, but without changing so many aspects of people's brains and lives. Thank you for listening.